Intelligence was once a luxury. Now, a new model makes it universal. But will cheap AI fuel innovation or accelerate human displacement?
Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a massive paradigm shift. Honestly, one that could completely rewire how global industries operate. We're looking at a dramatic, literally game-changing drop in the cost of artificial intelligence. It's a shift that basically rewrites all the rules we thought we knew.
Okay, let's dive into this. 3 cents. I mean, it sounds incredibly small, right? But looking at the data from artificial analysis and recent reporting from Reuters, this tiny 3-cent benchmark is actually the epicenter of a massive disruption. I'm going to pause here for a second because you really need to grasp this. This specific price tag is about to change the entire global economy by fundamentally shifting how we deploy artificial intelligence.
You know, for years now, the global AI race has been completely dominated by a singular obsession. We've been absolutely fixated on raw power. But what if we've been asking the wrong question this whole time? What if the next true revolution isn't just about making intelligence smarter, but making it universally accessible? All right, Section 1, the wrong question. Shifting the focus from capability to cost.
Think about the headlines you've read over the last couple of years. Every benchmark, every tech blog, every big release has been laser-focused on one single question. Who has the most powerful model? We've watched heavyweights like Gemini, ChatGPT, and Claude battle it out for the top spot on the leaderboard like it's some sort of heavyweight title fight. But while those frontier capabilities are undeniably incredible, this obsession with being the absolute smartest has completely overshadowed another absolutely crucial factor, which is the actual cost of running that intelligence.
Moving on to Section 2, the 3-cent revolution, scaling the economics of intelligence.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what we're talking about. When you look at benchmark running costs from artificial analysis, the margins are just staggering. You have DeepSeek V4-Flash sitting way down there at roughly 3 cents. Now, compare that to approximately $1.86 for OpenAI's GPT 5.6 Sol and a whopping $3.15 for Anthropic's Claude Fable 5. DeepSeek V4-Flash is operating at a tiny fraction of the cost. Now, we aren't saying every single real-world operation is exactly 100 times cheaper across the board. But these benchmark margins, they show a massive structural shift happening in the industry.
But here is the crucial caveat to all of this. Cheap does not mean useless. Not at all. According to that same reporting, V4-Flash scored a 50 on the Intelligence Index. And to put that into perspective, that actually matches Google's Gemini 3.6 Flash. This is a vital takeaway for us. This isn't about DeepSeek being the single smartest model on Earth. It proves that we can achieve highly competitive, foundational intelligence without the massive price tag.
Let's hit Section 3, Intelligence as a Commodity. The shift from luxury to infrastructure.
So historically speaking, we've seen this exact pattern happen before. Computing used to be incredibly expensive, right? Then it got cheap. Storage was a premium luxury. Now, it's completely abundant. Bandwidth used to be costly. Now it's practically everywhere. We are seeing AI inference enter this exact same curve. When intelligence becomes incredibly cheap, it stops being this high-value, limited deployment thing and becomes ubiquitous. It just fades right into the background of everything we do.
Because of this shift, the future AI market is going to look a lot like cloud computing. It's a layered economy. You'll have these highly affordable Layer 1 models doing all the heavy lifting for millions of routine background tasks, while you reserve those super expensive Layer 3 and 4 frontier models only for the absolute hardest problems. I mean, you don't use a supercomputer just to send an email, right? And very soon, you won't use a frontier AI model for basic automation either. And that naturally leads us to a concept called model routing. Think of this as the automated brain directing traffic, sending your simple, everyday tasks to those 3-cent models and reserving the really expensive, cutting-edge models only for the requests that actually need them. Make no mistake, model routing is going to be one of the most important economic tools companies use to optimize their AI budgets moving forward.
Moving right along to Section 4, the AI agent explosion. Why cheap inference is mandatory.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is when you look at an AI agent's workflow, you immediately see the problem with expensive inference. Unlike a standard one-step chatbot, an agent loops through a complex process. It has to plan, select tools, take action, analyze the results, and it might do this hundreds of times for just one job. If every single model call costs $3, well, that agent is economically unviable for everyday business. But at 3 cents, suddenly autonomous AI actually scales.
To actually make these agents work, they need memory. DeepSeek's V4 family is associated with a staggering 1 million token context window. Agents need to hold massive amounts of code, tool outputs, previous actions, and long conversation histories. But here's the thing. Massive context isn't free. It costs compute. So combining a 1 million token memory with rock-bottom inference costs, that is the exact spark needed to ignite agentic AI.
All right, our final section, Section 5, the next AI race, ecosystems, hardware, and abundance. To really understand the global landscape, we have to zoom out and look at the broader ecosystem. DeepSeek is just one part of a rapidly evolving Chinese AI market, launching alongside fierce competitors like Alibaba's Qwen, Moonshot, and ByteDance. The sources we're looking at emphasize a very distinct strategy here: extreme cost efficiency and open-weight models that are driving massive domestic deployment. Now, this ecosystem raises a fascinating strategic question about infrastructure, particularly concerning hardware companies like NVIDIA. Can AI progress actually continue when access to the most advanced Western chips is constrained? DeepSeek V4 has been associated with efforts to operate efficiently within domestic hardware environments, including Huawei accelerators. This presents a really interesting paradox. If AI models become significantly more efficient, we might actually need fewer raw compute resources to generate a useful AI output. It's essentially a grand experiment in reducing dependency through sheer architectural efficiency. So, the crucial point is that the fundamental metric of success is changing right before our eyes. The old race, back in 2023, was purely about building a bigger, smarter model. But the new race, it's entirely about better economics. It's about who can make intelligence so abundant and so reliable that it just becomes the invisible infrastructure of the global economy.
And of course, this forces us to address the human consequence of all this. This isn't just about corporate budgets anymore. What happens when the cost of automating a task decisively falls below the cost of paying a human to perform it? As AI literally becomes pennies to run, that critical economic threshold moves. And it could move much, much faster than organizations or societies are prepared for, leading to some rapid and undeniable workforce restructuring.
Let's move to and see how this builds at scale. Remember our opening number? 3 cents sounds like absolutely nothing. But apply that to a large enterprise executing, say, 1 billion background tasks. Think data extraction, customer service queries, heavy code review. That 3 cents scales up to $30 million. And suddenly, the real-world financial implications are just staggering. This is exactly why a cheaper model doesn't just save money, it unlocks entirely new use cases that were previously impossible to fund. Which leaves us with a really provocative philosophical thought from the AI Pulse community to wrap up this explainer. As we look at the road ahead, we really have to ask ourselves, would you rather have the world's smartest AI, a true marvel of frontier engineering, or an AI that is almost as capable but costs 100 times less to use? Because the future of our economy might not be decided by who builds the smartest machine, but by what humanity actually chooses to do when intelligence becomes cheap enough for everyone. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning what comes next.